Jazzcast Pros.
G'day and welcome to the Spiritual Shortcut.
Hello everyone and welcome.
So this is exciting. Today is our very first healing session where we are going to speak with Belle, who has very kindly volunteered to do a healing with us online. And we're going to share her session with you and take you through it step by step, which is, very exciting and something I think pretty different, isn't it, Kristy?
It is pretty different and it's been interesting putting all this together because we've not really had any sort of a script to go off, paving the way here. And I guess motivation-wise, this is a really good way for you and I to demystify what actually happens in a session.
That's right, yes.
So let's talk about a little bit how we've structured everything.
Yes, so what we've done is we have edited in certain sections that we have deemed to be most relevant, and the healing itself went for almost 2 hours. So we don't want to just play it and have you listening to it and not knowing exactly where it's going. There's a lot of pauses. There's a lot of introspection. So there's thinking, there's connecting to guides, and that doesn't play well on air, does it? So we have edited that out. We want to speak to the fact that Belle is very self-motivated. She wants to get to the root of the issue that she has here. And it's wonderful to work with someone like this because she knows she has work to do and she really wants to do it. Yeah. So that was a wonderful experience to connect with her in this session.
It's also worth mentioning Belle's actually a healer.
Yes.
So super common with everyone that's sitting in front of us. I think nearly everyone has been a healer of sorts. Yeah, and so today's session that we're going to listen to is all about Belle just getting out of her own way, which again is a very common healery type problem.
It is. It really, really is. And I, for one, can relate to it and the issues that she talks about. So, yeah, it's beautiful to see people unfolding in this healing work the way that Belle has done today.
Also worth giving all the listeners a heads up, bit of a sensitivity warning. We do talk about some pretty heavy stuff. There were certain sections that we omitted completely from the recording. But just, if you've got little kiddies around or you're in the car with, friends, maybe just have a feel into whether this is going to be appropriate to listen to right now.
What if you could rewrite your story and resolve issues at their root by clearing energetic blocks and create a life that truly lights you up?
If you're a woman seeking deeper fulfillment, healing, and clarity, you've discovered the podcast to open you up to a whole new world, one that perhaps you never even knew existed.
Welcome to the Spiritual Shortcut, the podcast to help you realize that you are in fact your own healer and that you can learn to release the invisible anchors that might have been holding you back. Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kristy, and together we are the two psychic nobodies.
And today we're joined by Belle. Thank you so much for coming in with us today, Belle.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. It's gorgeous. Lovely to see your face. Okay, so we've had a little chat, and what we've come up with that Belle wants to do today is to identify and clear the blocks that are stopping her from reaching her full potential. We've had a bit of a chat about that, and Kristy has drawn some of our awesome conversation cards. So, Kristy, do you want to go through those?
Yeah, sure. So we've pulled, the first card is a crown card, so all connected into the higher self and sovereignty, Belle. Card 2 is the root card, so grounding and safety. And then the third card is an inverted masculine card. So lots dropping in already, and like that new container wants to come in, but there's just something here that we need to identify and clear first.
Just for a little bit of background, Belle, you are, surprise, surprise, a healer. We are the healer's healer.
Yeah,
and as
it's
healers.
nearly everyone that has sat in front of us so far doing these recorded podcasts have been healers.
Yeah, so that's kind of fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you give us just a really super brief background?
Yeah, I've been doing healing for quite a few years. I started out with Reiki and then Seishim or Sekhem, as they call it these days. And I was introduced to one tribe a few years ago. I followed them on Facebook for quite a while, the Shamanic healing. My first foray into it was the ancestral healing, and that was a baptism by fire.
Oh, that was your first. I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
I had done nothing like that before, and it totally freaked me out, but I absolutely loved it. So then I did my 1 and 2 in March last year and 3 and 4 in November last year.
Ah,
So
how exciting.
Shamanic healing. So yeah, it's very exciting.
And you're in the middle of your mentorship then?
I am.
Fantastic.
And something is stopping me from moving forward. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Well, I feel really honored that you're using this forum to do something like that, as major as it is, because if you can crack that, what a difference that's going to make for your shamanic healing work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There's this big container that wants to come in, this beautiful big, like the minute I sort of even look at it, it's just glowing and divine. And then I come over here and it's like the guides are actually showing me imagery of being like underwater, right? So, and if I tune right into it, it's like hard to move. Like it's hard to move forward. It's quite easy to move backwards, which, you know, kind of feels like I'm going with the current that way. Yeah, what else have I got over here? Lots of people behind me, like ancestral kind of lineage stuff behind me. What about you, Amanda? Do you want to have a little chat about what's dropped in for you?
Well, what's initially come up, which is the feminine wants to come in a lot more strongly. So, which is really interesting that you drew the inverted masculine card. So I feel like the feminine is having a lot of trouble from coming in because there's something in the masculine that needs to be cleared in order for the feminine to flourish. So it's probably related to what you're experiencing. I've got this feeling of it being crushed like a flower kind of thing. So there's no movement there. There's no ability to breathe as easily as you need to when you're doing this creative work that you need to be doing, and to be able to step into that role with the confidence that you want to have is, you know, you need to be able to stand up straight, expand your lungs, and breathe easily.
Lots and lots too, extra dropping it around that, Belle, like lots of fear, but the fear is so subtle and so subconscious. It's like, unless you were looking for it, it feels like you couldn't even point your finger to it, you know? And then I go down that little bit deeper, and what the guides are showing me is this tiny little speck of resentment that if I look at that right now, it almost comes up as like, this sounds terrible, but like an infection, right? And around that, all I can hear the guides saying and bringing the message through of this, I am different, but it's not like, you know, people call me weird all the time and I'm like, that's a compliment, but, you know, back in the day it never used to be kind of thing. This is like, I'm actually like, this is a negative thing, a negative connotation to this label. Yeah, like how does that feel with you? Like, do you resonate to what we've just brought through?
Absolutely. I've always had a fear of men, and I don't know where it comes from. And it's like a fear of speaking up in front of men, a fear of being judged by men, a fear of even being looked at by men. I've always, felt less than around the masculine energy.
Yeah, wow.
It's interesting, isn't it? If this is a massive lesson for you, then there's 4 sons is a huge path to go on to try and learn whatever it is and process that. I'm seeing the dark figure standing behind the men of the family from generation to generation, and it's like that entity jump kind of thing. Oh, what? I've got another light worker over here in this generation, so I'm just going to pop over into this male figure over here and make sure that light worker doesn't do what she's meant to be doing and
act through, this particular father figure.
I can see him like putting a coat on backwards and, using the arms and the head of that father figure and the male figure in this particular case and going, right, no, we need to do that. Because what's happening here is the dark is recognizing the light before it has a chance to truly get bright and shine, before the person holding it gets to a point in her life where she's like, oh, this is my calling, this is what I want to do. Because if it's happening when we're still children, that's the easiest, best time to be controlling the situation, because we don't have that sovereignty in our lives that we get when we're adults. And if we have it quashed within us energetically way before we're teenagers or adults, then we potentially can never get to that stage because we have no inkling that there's something there greater for us to step into. And there you go. That's that crown card, isn't it?
Yeah. And so what the guides are dropping in now, Belle, is your inner child, that little girl. And the vision that they're giving me is that she's like on the floor, she's crouched over, she's playing with something. It almost looks like a game of Knuckles or one of those old style games, but she's not really connected to the game because there's this, it's like a figure, but it's almost just like a shadow that is leering over the top of her, and she's looking up and she's absolutely petrified and looking back down and thinking, if I just busy myself, it will eventually go away. That's the energy around the little girl at the moment. Yeah,
and it's like, look, it's looking at me and I'm playing. Look, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the thing that you told me I should be doing, that kind of thing.
And it's a very big, empty, lonely space that they're showing me that she's in. Like there's not a single soul around her, and you can feel that confusion energy of like, I know it's there. I look up and, it's that swift move away. So it's hard to get a full read or a clear read on what it actually is. But it's that internal knowing that there is this thing hanging over my head at the moment.
When you were saying that there's no one in the room, I get the impression that it's almost like she's in a space where she's been isolated from others, so the rest of the family or whoever that might be, and there's an awareness in the family that she is there, but it's like, you know what, we don't talk about that because we don't want that negativity directed at us by discussing it.
Yeah.
So actually, it's better to just not rock the boat. And, it's that thing of don't say anything because everything's fine. And as soon as anyone says anything, the energy they get directed at them is, what is wrong with you? Everything was fine. Why are you making trouble?
It just very thick energy of separation around her as well.
Yeah. Belle, can you relate to that kind of energy?
Yeah. I remember when I was very little, like I don't have many memories of when I was young, but I remember an awful lady that used to look after me before I started school in like a preschool thing, and she would do horrible things to me. But it was like she used to tell me, I'd thrown a ball over a fence, not thinking that it belonged to us, thinking it belonged to the dog next door. She used to look after a heap of kids. And I remember her telling me that I was a liar, and she would hold my hands between her knees and tell me to stick my tongue out so that she could burn my tongue. But I was too scared to tell anybody. And I had obviously blocked that memory out, and it came back years and years and years later. But like my mum worked a few jobs. My dad was always away. I was always that quiet, shy kid who never said anything, and I got married very young. I moved out of a home where my dad basically wrapped me in cotton wool and protected me from the outside world, to a husband that would I always thought he was protecting me, but he wasn't. He was actually covering up what he was doing behind my back. So, like, I got married and had my first baby at 19. So I was so naive. And, yeah, I just had always been lied to and always been sort of blocked off from other people. I didn't have a lot of friends when I was little growing up. I had a small group of friends in high school. But once I got married and had a baby, they all sort of disappeared.
What we can do is actually help the little girl feel a little bit safer. So what I'll get you to do, Belle, is just close down your eyes if you're comfortable to do so. And if you can imagine a place where you think that she would feel comfortable and safe, so that we can start to give her the opportunity to just feel a little bit more calm, so that you two can start to have a little bit of a conversation. So what we want to do is encourage her to step into this space. Now, Belle, is there anything that you can add to the space that she might like? For example, some toys to play with, maybe musical instruments to play, a blankie or a teddy bear, anything like that that you think that she would just physically be able to hold, that's going to make her feel a little more calm and that she can focus on?
Yeah, I think she'd like a puppy.
Puppy's great.
Yeah, nice.
Something to cuddle.
Yeah.
But that's real, not toy.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
Something to draw her eyes down too. So I think a puppy is a really good idea, because I'm just watching her get very distracted by this shadow.
Mm. Yeah, she's a bit scared.
I think it's also the opportunity for her to have something that also needs protecting on the same level that she does, means that she's going to actually encapsulate that energy on behalf of the puppy and then absorb it herself.
Mm.
All right. So, Kristy, I think, a couple of minutes with the puppy,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe time to see what Belle can do.
How's she doing, Belle?
Yeah, she's okay. She's just trying to teach her to sit at the moment.
Yeah, it just wants to play, doesn't it? I can feel it. But what a beautiful way to bring that energy of play into that space with her.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So have you approached her, Belle?
Not yet. She's
Yeah.
I felt that she was angry with me
Okay.
before I came. Like when you were talking about her before, I thought she's really angry with me because I haven't been around for her.
Yep.
I've let her know I'm there, but she's a bit wary.
Yeah. Understandably, yeah.
Maybe if you offered her something like a dog toy for the puppy to play with, it's a shared interest.
Yep. Just giving her some dog treats so that she can reward the puppy for sitting.
Oh.
And showing her that, if once the puppy sits, she gives him a reward, and then he knows that, he's going to get something for it. And I don't want to use the word for being good because, that's just so he gets rewarded for doing as she asks him to do.
Just like that positive exchange, isn't it?
Mm.
And maybe Belle taking this opportunity to rewarding her verbally for teaching the puppy such a cool thing.
Yeah, it's telling her how clever she is.
Yeah.
Not everyone can teach puppies tricks like that so quickly.
That's right. And don't forget, she's you.
She's like happier now. She's like getting him to dance around. I told her that she's like magic.
Oh.
Teaching him to do that.
Beautiful.
I've sort of sat down with her and she's sitting on my lap and playing with the puppy.
Beautiful.
Showing me all the tricks that he can do now.
So do you think she'd be receptive, Belle, to hearing you put some words around why you haven't been around and just assuring her that you're here now and that you're not going anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you feel confident to do that, or would you like us to lead you?
Maybe if you got me started.
Mm-hmm. So maybe just trying to get, I know she's sitting on your lap, but just if you kind of crunch over a little bit and just make sure that you're really in her sights.
Yep.
And just feeling into that and just showing her that you're physically on the same level as her, you know, making the effort to be here.
Yep.
And then we might start with just that acknowledgement of, I know that this is the first time that we've connected properly.
I know that this is the first time that we've connected properly.
But I'm here now.
But I'm here now.
And I'm never going to leave you again.
And I'm never going to leave you again.
How's she feeling? How's she receiving that?
She's like, I've heard this before.
Yeah. And I'm getting this sense that that anger that you were talking about before is starting to rise up.
It's like you always tell me you're going to do that, but you never do. You do it for a little while and then you go away again. Sorry that I've been that wishy-washy, flaky person, but I promise that I'm going to do a lot better and I'll show up for you and protect you.
Beautiful.
Make sure that you have everything that you need.
Belle, I feel that it might be worth pointing out to her that it's totally okay and understandable that she feels that way.
Yeah.
And you want her to be that honest with you.
It's totally okay for you to be upset with me. I understand it. And I want you to be honest with me when you're upset with me. I want to understand how I can be better for you.
And just letting her know that it's okay to feel angry too, that it's normal and natural.
It's okay for you to be angry. It's normal. It's natural for people to be angry. And you're allowed to be angry with me. Because I haven't been there for you and I know I haven't. But I promise I will be. I'll show up for you and I'll show up for me.
And it may even be worth pointing out to her that you haven't shown up for yourself either.
I haven't been showing up for me either. But I am being strong. I'm going to be strong and I'm getting stronger all the time. I'm going to be strong for you and I'm going to be strong for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.